Oh, hey guys. If you're wondering what I'm doing right now with my hands, I'm playing with my balls. My sports balls. That's right. I'm Jason Rains, your KC South Remax Elite Realtors, and today we're talking everything sports in Kansas City. So stick around.
Welcome to the Rains Report with your host, Jason Rains.
All right, guys, welcome to the show today. Again, looks a little bit different this week. It's cold outside, so we're actually in studio. We're in our podcast studio because we actually do a podcast called The Rains Report that we release every Friday. We might have a couple special ones that we drop from time to time, but typically every Friday on all your favorite podcast carrying channels or platforms. So make sure to find The Rains Report, RAINS. Give that a subscribe, hit, and then also on the YouTube side of things, make sure you're hitting that subscribe and the notification bell so you are notified every single time we drop a new video. Now, I am a licensed agent in the state of Kansas and in the state of Missouri. As much as I love making these videos for you guys, I would love to help you buy or sell or even just answer your questions about real estate when you have them here in the greater Kansas City area. So just reach out, guys. Give me a call, shoot me a text, send me an email, whatever it is. Just reach out so I can help you. Now let's get to it. Sports, Kansas City edition. I got my boy Luke here today. Luke, boom, catch the ball. That was a good one with the microphone. We are going to be talking sports in Kansas City, right? So maybe you're thinking about moving to Kansas City and you don't know what the sports scene is like, or maybe you're already in Kansas City but haven't been to a lot of sporting events. We're going to talk about different sports today, kind of where they're at, what to expect, some things come to Kansas City, some exciting things happening with sports. And yeah, let's get into it. Sports, Kansas City edition. Yeah.
Okay. We can cut to this. That's
Okay.
fine.
All right.
But let's go back. We're going to start from scratch right here, but then basically just start hitting it.
All right, guys. So we're going to talk sports, and there's a lot of sports in Kansas City. So I think, what if we just kind of cover it like east to west?
Okay.
Right?
That's fair.
Gotta come up
You
with
start with
something.
the I-70 Speedway. What?
I-70 Speedway.
Isn't that like
East?
Oak Grove?
Oh.
Somewhere out there was a speedway, and it might still be there, but they do like the whatever it is, like the dragster races and stuff like that. It's like a dirt speedway.
Yeah, I mean, we could go all the way down to Bolivar,
Town.
Missouri.
What do they have?
The Lucas Oil races.
Oh, cool.
Yeah. Like,
Okay.
it's a big thing down there.
See, this is
Like,
stuff I didn't know. So.
Big, like, they even have they set up for, like, speedboat racing even.
Oh, wow.
Like a man-made area for speedboat. It's a big deal down there.
Okay.
But people might not have heard of Lucas Oil.
Yeah.
It's actually like Lucas Oil, but it's actually the name of the Indianapolis Colts stadium is Lucas Oil Field.
I had one of the
same guy. The same guy owns Lucas Oil track in not even Bolivar. Sorry, Wheatland. It's Wheatland, Missouri. Even smaller,
Jeez.
right? Like
That was
way small.
the first stock I ever bought was Lucas Oil.
There you go.
That's my name.
Boom.
It tanked after I got it.
There
Okay,
goes that.
so
So anyway, let's go maybe a little bit bigger, right? And get back on track. Let's go the Mavericks.
yes. So
Hockey.
that is
You a hockey fan? Are you a hockey fan?
yeah. Well, when I see the Mavericks, yeah, and then I think the Blues and Blackhawks had an exhibition game here at like Kemper a little while ago. I went to that one. I would be a hockey fan if it was here in Kansas City. It's just not here in Kansas City, so we get I mean,
Mavericks,
yeah, you're right.
that's what we're talking
Mavericks
about.
are kind of new though,
Yeah.
right? So they built what was then the Silverstein Ice Center's
Yeah, I'm
arena.
not
I
sure
think
what
now
they're
it's
calling it
Cable
now.
Dahmer Arena.
Yeah, Cable Dahmer Arena. So it's just so people know, I-70 and 291 Highway.
It's a good spot.
On the southeast corner of I-70 and 291. So that's the spot. I'll say pretty accessible, I think.
You've been to a game there?
I've been to it. Yeah, I've been to a game there.
I have too.
It was fun.
It was fun.
I mean,
it's a blast. It really is.
I'm not a huge hockey fan in general.
Yeah.
Just not my sport.
Yeah.
Probably because I didn't grow up watching it. Never played it, but I mean, it was a fun atmosphere. I'll give it that, right?
It's nice and cold in there, and I'm naturally warm.
Yeah.
So that's a fit.
Yeah.
It looks. Yeah. I like it.
Yeah. I will say that I always know when an event's going on there because they do other events there too, right?
Yeah,
Besides hockey,
concerts,
it's
things like that.
Yeah, it's an event center.
Adam Sandler was there. I know that.
I did not know that.
There you go.
I'll say that you always know when something's going on there because traffic in the area is just insane, right?
Yep.
Like it's easy to get to, but it's not great as far as like traffic once you're in the area. Like it gets really congested really quick.
Yeah, because you got to get there from 40 or go up to Blue Ridge Parkway or whatever the mall.
Yeah,
one
and then
is.
come in like from the once you get off the highway, it's just one access road.
Yeah.
And it's 2 lanes in both directions. Like that's all you got. So traffic can get pretty hectic in that area.
But I know the Mavericks are pretty big here now.
Yeah.
I would put them in top 5, top 4 teams in Kansas City.
Yeah.
Just maybe a notch below like the Monarchs or something because people they tended to gravitate towards it when it came in, and I know they've had several seasons now on the up and up, and their merchandise is all over.
Yeah.
And that's a good sign because when I go into a Rally House or a Kansas Sampler, I could see that merchandise. I want to buy it because I like their colors.
Yeah.
The blue and orange hits. I like that.
Yeah.
But
Blue and orange. Just doesn't sound right because that's Denver's color.
Well,
Broncos.
But it's a different
they're
tint.
kind of an arch rival.
It does. It goes with like the old Denver colors. That is kind of the colors. Yeah.
Right.
Ooh.
That's what I think. When I think blue and orange, I think of Denver.
And it's a horse too.
Yeah.
Yeah.
What are they thinking?
Get out of here.
But that good transition because we go just west down I-70 from the Cable Dom Arena, and we come to
Truman Sports Complex,
which is where the Royals and the Chiefs play. For now, who knows?
True.
Who knows what the future will hold? But right now in 2022, that's where they both play at.
And that's it. I mean, those are the 2 big ones.
Yeah.
It's Chiefs first, Royals second. At least, mid-decade to now, it seems like it's been kind of one of the same 2014, 2015 with the Royals being in the World Series.
Yeah.
And in 2015, that was like kind of took over.
Yeah.
And I think at that time, the Chiefs were good, but they weren't like top tier like they are now. I think
I'd say whenever Mahomes first year, like 20, he didn't play his rookie year, but like 26. What
he played one game his rookie season against Denver.
2015 probably 2015 or 2016 because we've literally won the conference every single year since then.
When even before then we were a perennial playoff team, but it was just one of those things where it was like, okay, we're a playoff team, we need to take that next step. Are we lacking a quarterback? Are we lacking at coordinators? Like what do we need? Defense was always kind of a issue. And then all the pieces fell into place. So it's not like we weren't good. I think we've won the division for, a crazy amount of seasons. It's like a record. Yeah. Or right below
now
New
we
England.
have,
I think we're tied second or something like that.
So, Chiefs and Royals, and obviously the big thing there, and not that this doesn't happen other places, but and more so Chiefs than Royals, but tailgating. Yeah. Right? It's huge.
Yeah. Then you got to think, too, because Chiefs, how many home games do you get? 10?
Yeah, there's 16-game season, so.
Yeah, then a couple of preseason playoffs in there. So they go big because it's spread out. Like Royals, you got
there's so many games.
162 games, so there's 81 at home. And so it's kind of spread out. But especially at the beginning of the season, at the end of the season, if we're in playoff contention, 2014, 2015, when the attendance was high, then it feels like a Chiefs game when you're going to those games. Recently, it hasn't been that way. But hopefully they'll turn it around too.
But Chiefs games, tailgating,
always
huge out there.
Even when we're bad,
huge. Oh yeah, absolutely.
I'm talking about the thick pin days. We were still packing.
No fair weather fans.
No,
in Kansas City when it comes to the Chiefs.
Yeah,
like they're out there.
Mm-hmm.
It doesn't matter what time of year it's. Last week it was like 30 below zero, whatever, and we had a home game, and we drove by. It was. They played on December 24th, the day before Christmas. And it was a noon kickoff, and we drove by at 9:30 in the morning.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, it wasn't like packed like it's normally packed.
Yeah.
Because it was,
Still had it going.
like 0 degrees that day. But there was a ton of people out there at 9:30 already tailgating. They typically open the gates like 3 or 4 hours before kickoff.
Yeah.
And there's usually a line of people waiting to get in hours before kickoff to get the spot they want in the parking lot and get their stuff set up and get cooking. I mean, people bring smokers. I mean, people take like entire setups out there to make food. They're not bringing sandwiches from Subway. We'll put it that way. I mean, some people do, but I mean, it's
I'd bring Taco Bell.
It's pretty big.
Yeah, it certainly is. You can smell it, you can hear it, you can see it. It's just every game day, no matter what. It's almost a rite of passage for a low temperature tailgate, just because the Chiefs always play, through the winter.
Yep.
And you got to expect to go to those cold games if you're going deep into the season when we're making that playoff push.
That's right. So, we got Mavericks, we got Royals, we got the Chiefs. Now, the Royals are talking about moving their stadium downtown.
Yes.
So, it'll be interesting to see what happens there.
Does that affect tailgating? I think obviously it does, because parking will be more sparse. It's not going to be central to one location.
Yeah, it'll be interesting. I mean, I feel like tailgating, I think, would be affected, right? I mean, right now at Truman Sports Complex, it's literally like the parking lots is massive.
I think that's
and
why
it's just like literally just a huge, like, it just encompasses the entire stadiums, right?
Yep.
In every direction.
There's no hazards. It's just wide open.
It's just wide open,
parking lot. It's conducive to tailgating, so people take advantage of it. If they move downtown, it kind of goes away. I mean, at least for Royals games, it would, outside of like designated lots or tops of parking garages.
I think it'll bring more business to the businesses in the area, because again, people can't tailgate and they want to go down early and maybe grab a bite to eat before they go to the game. I mean, look at St. Louis Cardinal Stadium. Yeah. Right? Like, they have that whole Busch Park or whatever it's called.
Busch Gardens.
Busch Gardens Park. All that area around there, there's restaurants everywhere, and like you're literally eating at a restaurant and the stadium's like 40 yards away.
Which I'm relatively sure, but not certain, that Busch Gardens was built by the same person or designed by the same group that did Power and Light here.
Okay.
So
it's not Busch Gardens, it's Ballpark Village.
Ballpark Village.
Amusement park.
Is the like outside.
Okay.
Flower.
Ballpark Village.
Yeah, Ballpark
but
Village.
I do think it was built
Thanks,
by the same.
producer,
Jeff. You lived in St. Louis for a while.
Appreciate
I
that.
couldn't let you guys get by with that.
Yeah, there
Cardinals
we go.
fan.
All right, fine.
It's Cardinals, I know.
But I think it was built by the same person who did Ballpark Village.
Okay.
And so that's kind of hand in hand with like a downtown stadium like we would have is probably that would be in use a lot more, which is not to say it's not in use right now. People go crazy at Power and Light for.
And I think, and right before we get to Power Light, because we kind of talked about traffic at where the Mavericks play at Cable Dahmer. One of the nice things about the stadiums the way they're set up now for the Royals and the Chiefs and the Truman Sports Complex is there's so many different ways to come in. There's like 6 different gates.
Well, and from 3 different highways or how.
Yeah, I mean, you can come in off I-70, you can come in off 435, you can come in off Raytown Road. Like, literally, there's entrances
basically
on all
350.
those. Or you can come in off of 40 Highway. I mean, there's so many different ways into the stadium that
we used to have season tickets when I was a kid, and I never knew how we got there because we would go through Raytown. It was like 350 up to Raytown Road. And then we would zigzag because my dad just knew. Yeah, this will get us there quick.
Yeah,
and I'm like, oh, okay, cool.
Yeah. So now Gate 1 is typically reserved for staff and for players entrance, mostly staff. So if you're going out there, maybe not so much for Royals, but I think that's where the buses go into, is not player buses, but like big like Greyhound type buses or charter buses go in Gate 1 and park there in Lot A. But if you're just a normal fan going to a game, you're not pulling in gate number 1. So just expect to go from 2. I think it's like 2, 3, and 4 are off of Blue Ridge, and then 5's off Raytown Road, and then 6 is like right there at Raytown Road, and 435 is kind of how it's set up. But then there's more than 6 in, because there's some gates up around off the 40 highway side too.
Yeah.
So there's lots of different ways
it is
in there.
crazy accessible.
Yeah.
And right now it's the Chiefs and the Royals, the two top teams in Kansas City, and the Royals are thinking about moving downtown, but that won't be for 8-9 years.
Yeah, it'll be a while.
I think
probably.
2030 is the contract year.
But then you brought up Power and Light, and not that there is some sports there. You got college basketball experiences there, just outside of Power and Light, right next to Sprint Center or T-Mobile Center.
Sir,
I'm going old school, calling the Sprint Center.
Sprint is not T-Mobile.
T-Mobile Center, right? So you got college basketball experience, but for years they had, NCAA tournament was
Final Four. I think
Final Four was down there, right? So it's not now, but who knows? It could come back.
That place, future. And it was built. I think it was built as like, we're going to get a basketball team, we're going to get an NBA team, or a hockey team,
and we haven't.
And we haven't.
That doesn't mean it couldn't happen. It is designed for one.
And who knows if like it's strategic to put Kauffman downtown in order to kind of help show that is something that should happen.
Who knows?
So I mean,
who knows?
The idea is that is a sports venue.
Yeah. And right across the street you got Power and Light, which is obviously not a sports venue at all, but they have huge watch parties for different sporting events.
I would call it a sports. I know that it's a bar district and entertainment district, but in some sense it is a sports venue because the crowds that gather there we had the World Cup a month ago. Yeah. And on Fox Sports national broadcast.
We didn't have the World Cup.
But the World Cup
was playing,
We have the World Cup in a few years, or 2026. But as this national broadcast, Fox is showing it intermittently throughout the game. They're showing Power and Light District over and over again to show the crowd here, because that is the national crowd. Yeah. Like they weren't showing it anywhere else. There was no other group. It was Kansas City,
place, right?
the soccer capital of the world.
Yeah.
That's awesome. Of the U.S. Yeah. So,
and we're talking about that downtown area. We can't forget the women's soccer team for Kansas City, which is the Current, right?
Casey Current.
Should have
worn that. I got their hoodie.
Luke's more of a soccer guy than I am.
Ayo.
But Kansas City Current building the first ever women's only soccer facility, right?
That's all they're using it for.
The first one.
Yeah. So the first one
probably end up
for
having
that
some
specific use.
there.
Yeah, I'm sure.
They'll have
I'm
concerts
sure.
still, but
inevitably that's
but
probably.
It's built for the KC Current, which is the women's soccer team here in Kansas City,
financed by their ownership.
Yeah, financed by their ownership, and it's literally it's the first one of its kind being built for female soccer,
and it's in a great location. Yeah, that's where Kauffman should have gone. That riverfront, that's just cool.
That would have been cool to see Kauffman there.
So, but that's a neat spot. That's always been, if you've been to Kansas City and you're taking that I-29 bridge crossing to get to downtown, on Front Street there, if you look down, it's always just been a little dry patch of nothing. Yeah. And there's, they put Barcade and the apartments there, and they started doing some growth, and then it kind of hit a point where they weren't doing anymore, and it's like, man, what are they going to do down here? So I think that's good. It kind of pieces together that little dead area of Kansas City. That's nice. But that's sports.
And then we keep going east or west, I'm sorry, and we're kind of starting to come to the end of the sporting things in Kansas City, but we end over there in Wyandotte County, right? And we got your favorite sport, your favorite team.
Sporting Kansas City.
That's
what's up.
Again, not a soccer guy, so I'll kind of let you talk about them. I've actually never been to a Sporting Kansas City game.
Really? We got season tickets.
See?
Hey, we'll bring you as a client.
I've never been.
Tax write-off. But no, so Sporting Kansas City, another pioneer, because they had a state-of-the-art soccer facility built for just this team. Before that, they were playing at Arrowhead. Yeah. They were the Wizards. They built what was then Live Strong Sporting Park. Yeah. And now it's Children's Mercy Park. Yeah. And that's where we've been.
Right there by Legends, right?
Yeah. And that's where we've been since, I know it was the 2000s, probably like the late aughts. But basically, 2013 we won the MLS Cup. We've always had a really good team. Last year was not our year. But I mean, we're always a competitor, and that's kind of what it takes to get the city on your side. And then people like the new ownership group. I think Mahomes has got a piece in that now, as well as the Royals. So when that's the case, that you're going to drive traffic into there, and that's another one where it's just sellouts. I mean, it's all sellouts. I think what's the capacity there? It's like 16,000, something like that.
It's like 20.
Is it
20.
with standing room only and stuff? Yeah. But it's always packed. I mean, it's always a packed house. So we have we're season tickets there, and we have them in the GA stand. But basically, like, we could be in the Blue Hell where all the hooligans are and stuff like that. But it's just, I mean, that experience, you have to see a game because it'll change your whole life.
Life changing.
That's the big one. Well, that's not even the big one there.
Because we got 2 more out there.
Yeah, because you could argue.
So there's 3 out there.
Yeah.
So we got that one. Probably the smallest of the 3 would be the baseball.
Monarchs.
The Monarchs. It used to be the T-Bones, but now it's the Monarchs.
Yeah, something with the stadium there. I can't remember what happened. The team, like, the lease was up, and they shut the team down for a while, but then they rebranded and became the Monarchs, which is awesome because that pays homage to the Negro Leagues team and stuff like that. So, and
that used to be Kansas City Monarchs way back in the day.
Those jerseys are awesome. That merchandise, that's great for merchandising because everybody has ties to them here, and it's just cool to see because at the Royals game they used to wear them as throwback jerseys, and they would do like cap giveaways for it. So that was a good move.
So you got the minor league baseball team out there, and then the other one out there is the Kansas Speedway.
Which is probably bigger than the MLS is NASCAR.
Yeah.
I'm
NASCAR.
Not into NASCAR.
I'm not a big NASCAR guy now.
I know it's got plenty of seats.
People are going to hate me for saying this, but they drive around in circles.
I say that fast. Too. I could get into it if I tried, I'm sure. Because it's one of those things where you just don't understand it until you do. Yeah. But I don't want to understand it.
Yeah. So there's that.
Yeah.
But it's a big draw.
It is a huge draw. And how many events but for a stadium like a venue that size, I think how many events do they get that are NASCAR? Like maybe 3 a year or something like that. That's just crazy that they have such a big spot for very few days of using it.
But it goes to show you we have such a wide variety of sports here in Kansas City that whether you're into, we talked about hockey, we talked about baseball, we talked about football, places to hang out and watch those things. We talked about female soccer, talked about the guys soccer, we talked about minor league baseball, and we talked about NASCAR. Yeah, like really the only thing Kansas City doesn't have is basketball. Yeah, and up until very recently we've become more of a championship city too. Yeah. Whereas before, because 2013 Sporting Kansas City won the MLS Cup. Yeah. That was a big deal. I was living in Columbia at the time, so I didn't get a chance to do it here. But 2014, 2015, Royals went to the World Series. 2014, 2015, Royals went to the World Series, which is 30 years after they won the World Series in 85. They won it again. But that was one of those things where 90s, 2000s, you didn't really expect anything from the team. And then the Chiefs took off and have been dominant. And that was another one that took years 50 years before we won the Super Bowl again. Yeah. So I think being it's not a small market, it's probably a middle market organizations, and finding a way to elevate to that point. I think for the Royals, multiple sports win a championship within a 10-year period is and I think crazy. For the Chiefs, that might be the expectation because we've always been pretty decent outside of not putting the pieces together in the early 2000s and maybe into the 2010s, just kind of having that will they, won't they. But once those pieces fit, I could see us lasting for a long time. I think for the Royals being middle market, it takes more ebbs and flows. Yeah. So you're going to have a group of people or a group of young players that are going to elevate together and do pretty well until you can't afford to have them anymore. Yep. And that's what happened in 2015 with Hosmer and Moustakas and Kane and Escobar and all these guys that we had to either part ways with. I think we signed Gordon for a long-term extension in that, and Salvador Perez, and those were the only two that we could hold on to. But we grew finally to a point where I think that once we get to that peak, we can expect a championship instead of getting to that peak and then having it just fall apart and drop down. So that was – and talk about the experience. That's when, 2014, 2015
2020 when the Chiefs won the Super Bowl. That was right before COVID hit, but we were still not kind of aware of it, and they didn't shut everything down, where you got to experience that wherever you wanted to experience it. And that was just awesome.
So tons of sports here in Kansas City, right? Mm-hmm. So if you're looking to move to Kansas City, it's definitely a sports town, and hopefully you can kind of go out and experience some of these different things. Maybe you learned about something you didn't know on this video, and you can go check it out. And this was a fun one. So we might drop this on the podcast as a special drop, kind of outside of our normal thing we talk about on the podcast, but. Might drop this one on there, and we did another video about our favorite barbecue spots. So make sure to find that video as well, and I think we might drop that on as a special podcast also, since we're here in the podcast studio doing these. But yeah, guys, hopefully you enjoyed the video, and you can enjoy Kansas City sports when you move here. And if you're already here, then hope maybe you learned about something you weren't really aware about. But that's all I got for this one. So. Again, if you're looking to buy or sell in Kansas City, I would love to be your go-to. Or if you just have questions about the market in general, what's going on with it, what are interest rates, what's your house worth, what the house down the street sell for, whatever it is, I would love to answer those questions. So just feel free to reach out, give me a call, shoot me a text, send me an email. I'm the one that answers the phone and responds to all that stuff. So never too busy to help out. And until the next video, have a good day. See you later.